I've been waiting. It's been at least 4 or 5 years now that I've been waiting. I'm recently have gotten placed back on the list at the University of Chicago. If you have someone that's willing to be, you pretty much have to do that research yourself. But if you're getting one from a deceased person, it comes through them. I had a few people volunteer, but they never fell through. I mean, at this point, whichever can come faster for me.
And what do you do in the meantime? What keeps you busy?
I do a lot of crafting, and I go to like Bible study besides being back and forth in the hospital. This hospital stays recently have been where I have spent majority of my time. My mom's pretty much my caregiver.
When it comes down to it, she just needs that kidney, That's the main thing. Like yesterday wasn't a good day for her, and it was her birthday. Who wants to live like that?
What would it mean to you?
It would mean a lot, a very lot. It would help me change. It would change my life a lot. I would be able to go back to work. Because, I do crafting, but I'm the type that rather be working a real full-time job.
What made you decide to donate a kidney, and what were the circumstances under which it happened?
Okay, so a friend of mine who's maybe 10 years older than me was having kidney problems and told me that she might need a kidney. I just thought that I would be a good candidate, and I knew that it didn't scare me. So I told her I would happily donate. She came back to me and said, "Were you serious?" And I said, "Absolutely." And then I said, "But what are the chances that we are the same blood type?" And she said, "Well, actually, you don't have to be. You can basically enter a kidney swap." And I was like, "Awesome, tell me more." And that's when I learned about the paired donation, whereby you can donate on behalf of someone, but not directly to that person. So basically, my being willing to donate on her behalf means that she's going to get a kidney from somebody else, and my kidney is going to go to get a third or fourth person.
Okay, so you say to her, "Yes, I'm ready to do it." And then what did you have to go through?
You have to go in for tests on a couple of occasions, and that's kind of it. So they do a really good job. You have to see a doctor, a financial person, a social worker. They have a team of people that meet with you a couple times before you donate. I just think it's a big misconception that you have to be like this
Perfect specimen.
Exactly. And a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I could never do that because I don't want to give up drinking." And I'm like, nobody's asked me to give up drinking. They told me over and over again that I had the right to change my mind up until the time they put me out. They insert 3 things laparoscopically, and make 3 incisions along the side. And they disconnect everything with that. And then they make a bikini line incision about 4 or 5 inches long, and they literally reach in and they take it out. Day 2 is the most painful. And then every day after day 2 just got exponentially better. It just wasn't that big a deal. For a few days of tests and a few days of prep, you can save a person's life.
My entire adult life, even through college, because I have O negative blood, I've always donated blood as often as I can. And through that process, I just learned how easy it is to give parts of your body to help other people, strangers. So around 2008, at one of our grocery stores where my wife and I shop, there was one particular grocery store clerk who just is the nicest person in the world. So I noticed back in 2008, 2009, that this person, she looked sick. I was a stranger coming through the line, but I thought, well, at least I could acknowledge to her, "Hey, are you feeling okay?" She said, Well, she had kidney failure and she's on dialysis, and she was very sick. And I said, well, I've got two kidneys, I think. I don't know anything about it, but do you want one of mine? She just looked at me in shock because I am a stranger. Her sister was coming over to the United States from the Philippines to donate a kidney to her. About 4 or so months later, I went through the line. She looked worse. I just looked her in the eye and she started crying. The good news is her sister got the treatment and medication she needed, but Myra, was sicker. She told me this story, and I said, Myra, honestly, if my offer is still good, I have two kidneys. And she called me that night on my cell and said, Dan, if you're serious, here's the number. Next morning, I called that number.
How did you feel? What did you think?
Well, first of all, I felt honored, and I recognized the severity of her situation and the fact that she was willing to trust me enough to let me consider it with her medical team. I just felt like that was like holy ground. And then one day, I was on a ladder at a friend's architect office, and I got this phone call from that team, and they told me while I was on the ladder, they said, Dan, you're a match. I almost fell off the ladder, Nina. I was crying. I couldn't believe it. When they said, well, since you're the donor, you have, if you want to, the right to let her know. And you also, as the donor, have the right to kind of schedule it depending on when you have time, because you've got to be in the hospital at least for a day or two and recover afterwards. So I went home because I am married and I have two children. Well, I told them what happened and asked them for their input because I didn't want to do anything that made them feel uncomfortable. It was almost instantaneous at dinner. Said, absolutely, absolutely. So with that, the four of us, my family, decided, well, how do we tell Myra? So we thought, well, could we go through her line and give her a card? I haven't thought about this for a while. Sorry, it's emotional. As planned, the family went through Myra's line. They gave her that card. I came out then, and it was really cool, Nina. It was cool. She fell down. She was just so shocked. The actual day, my experience was it was the simplest thing in the world because you get there, the medical people take over. All I have to do is lay down. And when you wake up, it seems like 2 seconds later and the surgery is done. Well, that day, actually, I got released from the hospital, was able to come home.
And when you were going into surgery, were you rethinking it?
You have the right as a donor to stop for any reason, anytime. I kind of believe that sometimes the way God works, that when doors are open, you're supposed to go through them. She's been able to see her kids graduate from high school and graduate school and get jobs as adults, and she's alive. It's just for some reason, we humans have two kidneys and we can live a very normal life with just one. But there's literally been no change in any of my life because of this.
We've had a few people say, they were going to do it. And when it came time for the calls to be made and things like that, they don't answer the phone. And, it's real discouraging. But you just have to, stay strong and like my mom used to tell me, just dig deep down inside and stay positive and just know that, this is going to happen. So I just keep up the faith. That's all.
Just please, if you guys can help me, please.
You'll never feel as good about anything you do in your entire life.